So we are officially through the Pro Tour and less than a month away from the start of Skirmish Season 12, which means Blitz is back on the menu, boys. So what does the Blitz situation look like today? Well, DMArmada joins me to talk shifts, impact of the new set, and why it's a summer run of Blitz headed into Skirmish Season 12. A huge shout out to our channel members for supporting what we do here. If you want to get involved with the channel and the Dice Commando community, please consider joining as a channel member. Remember, these videos are only possible with your support. You can show that support with a like, a subscribe, and by leaving us a comment and sharing your feedback. Community first, and go Commando. Hey there, my flesh and blood friends. So just real quick before we get into this awesome interview, as I believe comes through, I was extremely excited to finally have Steven on the channel and get to talk with him. However, on editing, it became very clear to me that that excitement manifested in an unfortunate manner of me interrupting him and kind of talking over him several times, which I find to be unacceptable in an interview environment when he was my guest. So I apologize not only to you, but especially to Steven for that happening. I still believe there's a lot of value and a lot of greatness in this interview, so I hope you enjoy it. Steven, thank you once again, and go Commando. Hello everyone, and welcome back to Dice Commando for a video 5+ years in the making. That's right, DMArmada right up here and Dice Commando together on Go Again, a fabulous cast. So today we're joined obviously by Steven, who's going to spend some time with us today talking the state of Blitz. Welcome, sir, finally. How are we doing?
Yeah, it's been a minute, right? It's been all of 5 years. I guess that's a little longer than a minute. I'm good. I'm very good. And I'm excited to talk about Blitz because it has been, if not my favorite format, at least top 2 ever since the game has introduced Blitz back in 2020. It's top 2 in my opinion.
Well, that's a little disheartening because I would have to say, at least from my perception, my bias, of course, but I would have to say that you and I are some of the last bastions of Blitz format within the world these days, especially with peanut butter and jelly on the near horizon. But you know,
yeah, it does. I will say this though, I'm not sure where that format ends up if it's different enough. But to me, Blitz still has such a unique space within the game that it deserves to continue to thrive. And I think right now, even though it's people are dooming it like crazy, I think it actually is thriving, regardless of if people are highlighting that or not. So they should, and maybe this is the perfect thing for people to jump back on that format and give it another shot, because it's really kind of good right now.
Yeah. Well, and to your point, or maybe to your point, Skirmish Season 12 is less than a month away. It's starting on, I think it's August 16th, maybe the 15th, either way. But it's about a month away, which means Blitz. And I think we've played 0 XP, and by that I mean LL. By XP I mean Living Legend points. I think there have been 0 Living Legend events since the last Skirmish season. I believe that to be a true statement.
There were the World Championship qualifiers that fired. There were 7 of them, and they happened over Nats seasons, but I don't know if they gave points.
Okay, well, both of us.
I'm curious to know that.
Yeah, you can look that up. I didn't think there was any, but that's a fair statement. See, look how prepared we are, world, for our video that we're talking about today.
I actually, funnily enough, I knew we were going to talk about Blitz, and so I went to all 7 of those World Championship qualifiers, and I codified all the data. I wanted to know what heroes had done well, and the results may shock you. Wait for number 2.
All right, fair enough. All right, well, for those who are in the Fab sphere who don't know who you are, which is probably like 2 people, can you let us know who you are, your background, maybe even how you and I met, and what your favorite hero is outside of the Emperor, who's had his proverbial striders cut off?
Yes, indeed. Yeah, that's an interesting change. My name's Steven. I like card games. I got into making YouTube videos about a game called Dice Masters back in 2016. And so I chose a YouTube channel name called DMArmada, and I've stuck with it ever since. I fell in love with Flesh and Blood about a month before the game released, and I made a point to drive to a local game store that I've never been to before on the other side of town, expressly to try and buy into this game called Flesh and Blood. Turns out it's pretty good because I've been playing it ever since and making YouTube videos about it ever since. I don't know. I love the game, and I love playing the game with great people like yourself. We met officially. I would say we met officially in New Zealand.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think we met before that, actually, in person.
I don't know that to be true, but I don't know that not to be true. So I
Well,
agree.
someone can fact check us. I don't know if that they have the knowledge, but either way, we met officially in New Zealand at the Celebrational, and after that, we have kept in touch via social media and Messenger as well, things like that. But my favorite hero is a real stumper because before High Seas, my answer was Kassai. I recently changed from Kano to Kassai. And now after High Seas, I think Gravy Bones and Kassai are both tied.
And
so
are we talking? We're talking heavy hitters, Kassai here, right?
Oh yeah. Okay. Kassai 2, Electric Boogaloo. I'm a big fan of Kassai 2. And she I think supplanted Kano after they did the book banning. And at that point, I was like all in. I played her for like a couple of pro quests and played her a bunch after that. And then High Seas came out. And so Gravy Bones is a thing. And I'm a big fan of that guy. You can see him kind of way back there. I'm a big fan of him. I think
that's not Gravy Bones. I thought that was Stephen Cookus, or Pirate Cookus, or whatever it was.
It is, yes, it is indeed. It is. What do they put? Cookus, captain of the DMArmada.
Oh, okay, there we go.
Which is kind of fun. So I'm a big fan of him as well. So I have 2 decks that go with me to every armory, and it is those 2. It's Kassai and Gravy. And over the past couple of weeks, I've been playing Gravy, but at this last armory, I literally let my opponent pick. I said, you get to pick what I'm playing this week. It was Kassai or Gravy. So I played Kassai last week. It's a blast. If they ever, for some reason, make a hat, like a pirate hat, that allows any character to be a pirate, Kassai will be goated. That's all I have to say about that.
Oh, a Crown of Dominion for pirates. I don't hate that idea.
I think it's doable.
It'll just have the flavor text.
White whale card.
Yar.
I think it'd be great.
Yeah.
Who would not want a pirate hat that can turn any hero into a pirate?
Makes sense. Makes sense to me. You can play.
And by the way, yes, those events did give points.
Okay.
So 7 World Championship qualifiers fired during the national season across the world. And 7 of them were Blitz, I should be more specific. More of them fired, but 7 of them specifically were Blitz. And points were indeed given. And you can see that on the official Living Legend leaderboard. It is reflected there.
Oh, within the SEA season, you're saying?
Correct. Yeah.
Got it. So who, because, my internet skills are not great while I'm also trying to stream, who logged those points?
Who logged the most points? Do you want to guess?
I mean, there were 7, so just read them all. Like, who got the points? I mean, my guess would be Kayo did pretty well, but...
Kayo is sitting at number 1. Kayo, number 1. Prism, Arachne, Solitary Confinement, both got 8 points respectively. Mm-hmm. Florian got 5, Dash Database got 5, Prism got 5, Vincent got 5, Verdance got 3. Now, interestingly enough, based on the data that I pulled off of each of the things, this point total either might not be correct or the data might not be correct. Either way, Kayo was sitting at the top with 15. And from what I showed on my top 8 breakdown, it looks like Florian also had the same number of wins. So we'll see how it actually ends up panning out. Either way, Kayo and Florian, both good decks. And that might be a nice little segue into actually talking about the Blitz format.
Right. Yeah, I do want to caveat that with the points are on the new points multiplier and C in the SEA season. The C season, they're on the new points multiplier. So that's why the things look funky, right?
That's right. I forgot they applied that across the board. I didn't even think about that.
Yeah. So that'll be interesting. But yes, I agree with you. So dialing back over a month ago at this point to the BNS impact, significant changes to Blitz, which I think we won't really understand the ramifications to until we get into skirmish season. But we had a couple of things happen, the biggest of which undoubtedly was Stormstriders. Dead for the second time. It was killed in Dynasty season, headed into Worlds in San Jose, and then came back immediately thereafter. But now it's dead. So I know you were a huge Emperor fan, RIP Emperor, in multiple senses. How are we dealing with that? You and I both agreed, because I watched your videos, Verdance was very, very, very strong in the format. Where are we standing now?
Yep. Yeah, Verdance was tier 0. I think she was the best deck in the format, and I don't necessarily think it was super close. I mean, I played a lot of Verdance alongside of a lot of Blaze, and Verdance had just very comfortable matchups across the board. This was, of course, caveating that this was the Zen season where Zen was absolutely busted. But even after Zen LL'd, like speedran LL, and then came back a little bit more neutered, she was still arguably, well, obviously she was the best deck after that. But even before that, she was still arguably the best deck alongside of him, I think, personally. She was very powerful. And removing Stormstriders, I think, goes a long way to actually neutering her ability to play that other style that felt very deterministic. Unfortunately, it absolutely obliterates the other, well, not the other two wizards, specifically Emperor, as you were talking about. Emperor is just wiped off the face of the earth, unfortunately, and he was not in any way, shape, or form really touched or helped by the Hunted at the beginning of this year, where we got a slew of Draconic cards. You can build him to be less arcane focused and more attack reaction focused with the daggers, the new daggers, but it's just not worth it in any way, shape, or form. And he just really kind of doesn't exist, which is a little sad. Yeah. But I think the change to Stormstriders was warranted, and it still allows the other two heroes to be functional. And in the case of Verdance, still making top 8s, which is kind of crazy.
Yeah, I mean, one Far Moon is still like a pretty damn solid play, right? When you've got Tree in the deck and can stack it and all that stuff, right?
Well, the interesting thing is that because she's an Earth hero, she just pivots to playing big stompy attacks. Right. So she just leans on Felling of the Crown, Plow Under, and she plays a very small slew of arcane spells to just kind of chip whenever she wants. But really, she makes her hay by throwing those big disruptive attacks after playing X amount of, like decompose cards. And then she can pop off with one big combo on her own turn, which honestly is probably the way the design of that character was intended to play out. It's probably just fine that it functions that way, but you do lose an entire archetype by taking away Stormstriders.
Right. Yeah, I mean, I would say without Stormstrider, she kind of converges more to like the more traditional CC style of her. I mean, obviously CC still has the kill shot, to be clear, but that's not like your full on strategy. Whereas before it was just like, I need to get you to 7 and then let's play ball, right?
Yep, exactly. Interestingly enough, also the removal of Stormstriders in a lot of ways made me think that Blaze was going to take this massive, huge step back.
Oh, she's okay.
And that is not the case. In fact, I would argue that she's perhaps now the most underrated hero in the format, because I've continued to play her after the fact. At first, I tested just to see if like she was just dead, and I found that all the changes that I made to the deck, I could just revert, and I could put in a new set of boots and then just do the very similar things that I was doing before. It's just that some of her matchups got a little bit more challenging than they were before, which does push her down a peg, and I think that's exactly where they want her to be, but she's still quite good.
Sure. To your comment on Blaze, I think Blaze is helped significantly by the fact that most people, when, in my opinion anyway, when Striders went, most people pivoted from Oasis to Polarity. Instead of the prevention, now they're on the reaction, right? So I think that does help Blaze from her kind of, her shtick, right? But you've been playing them more than me, so what's your call?
Yeah, I would always believe that playing Oasis didn't actually win you the game, didn't actually do much. It was more of a stopgap. It was basically like playing AB4 on a specific turn. And if you're doing that, you're extending the game into longer phases of the game, and Blaze is totally fine to do that if you're not playing direct fatigue. If you're not playing fatigue and you're just extending the game, Blaze, if they recognize that and play it correctly, is totally fine to extend the game. It's where Blaze stumbles is when the game is over in 2 turns and the opponent has all of the tempo and all of the ability to dictate the speed of the game. That's where Blaze really stumbles, or the opposite when it's a full fatigue. But luckily, they've actually removed Crown of Seeds again. Or was it Crown of Seeds that they removed for Terra? I think it was, right?
I am being an idiot right now. I think Crown of Seeds is still legal in Blitz. That might not be true.
What did they remove to make Terra? Oh, it was
CYB, but
yeah, CYB. Thank you. Not Crown of. Seeds, because you can still play Crown of Seeds and Verdance. No, they removed CYB.
Right.
And because they did that, now you don't have to worry about this disgusting full fatigue Guardian outside of like Yoji, right?
Right. Sorry. Yoji, to be fair, is not super good anymore, because that was kind of his whole play, was to just like live. And that's not super relevant. But with CYB changing, I guess that's more of a question, is CYB changing, there was what changed? Aside from the fact that a lot of people don't want to rage quit their armories anymore. So
yeah, for sure. You're not wrong. Terra had perhaps the most toxic and degenerate fatigue deck that has existed in Flesh and Blood with CYB, which is the I don't know. You could compare that and like super hard fatigue Oldhim, but I would probably lean it towards Terra. And the fact that you could do that in a 40 card deck in Blitz made it very impossible for heroes like Blaze to ever really chip over the top if they played it correctly. And so them removing that makes it a lot more comfortable for Blaze to play out into a wide meta. Where you're not expecting or really not having to contend with massive fatigue states from those types of heroes. And so circling back around to like the original question, because that card doesn't exist and because Blaze plays the way that she does, if you're building her in a specific way, Oasis is really just an extender of the game and not really this big kind of I got you moment like it is in most Wizard matchups.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's fair. Okay. Yeah. And, my hero, Aurora, took a couple of hits. And there's a couple of layers to peel on this one, so, bear with me. But, Aurora, obviously, she lost CLV. She lost Flicker Wisp, which, Flicker Wisp, in my opinion, was kind of a no-brainer. Like, it just didn't really belong in Blitz, to be honest. But, CLV hits Acilio as well. Not necessarily a contender within the meta, but certainly can do pop-off things. But Aurora was, interestingly enough, I believe she was the most winningest hero. Actually, I don't believe. I'm pretty positive she was the most winningest hero last Skirmish season. But I'm, as you and I already talked about, I'm not convinced that Aurora was the best hero last Skirmish season. It's just that people loved the S out of Aurora. Right?
I would say I think you're right. I think she was like the second best hero in that format alongside of Verdance. And honestly, depending on how like the players in your local meta play, depending on wherever you are watching this, it could have gone either way if you have a good Aurora player that transfers from CC to Blitz. And then, like you said, the inclusion of Flicker Wisp, that card was so good in Blitz, you could oops, I win on turn 0. You could oops, I win on turn 1. You could fall to, like, your life is paltry in comparison to your opponent's life total and just win because your turn is just that good. So them removing that actually brings her down a decent peg, but still functional, like you were saying, still playable in this format as well, which is a sign of a good ban and restricted announcement when the hero's brought down but not crushed.
Yeah. So where do you think she's going to land again in Skirmish? Hopefully I get my numbers right, but in Skirmish 11, mostest winningest hero. In Skirmish 12, coming up here in August, yes, she took a hit. I personally don't think CLV was that big of a hit. I get it. I know what it does. I don't think it necessarily neutered her that much. Where do we think she falls within the grand scheme of things? Does she go from tier 1 to tier 1.5? What's your thoughts?
Like if you break it into like a lettering system, she's no longer S tier, but I could buy her as like a solid mid A tier hero. And the data speaks to that because if you look at those 7 WCQs, she had, and I'll tell you right now, she had 3 top 8s and 1 top 4. Across those events. So across all of the top 8s, and there were some holes, so those numbers couldn't be, or may not be exactly perfect. She may have one more than, like one more top 8 or one more top 4 than what is reported. But that's kind of where she sits. And honestly, I buy that. Like she's a good aggro deck that will struggle into disruption. And it's unfortunate that all of the arachnes that exist are not touched at all because their amount of damage and disruption is so good still in this format. And you're a big Arachne Solitary Confinement guy, so
right.
you can kind of speak to that.
Yeah, I mean, they are pretty dirty right now. I would definitely put them in top 5 without a doubt. Might even be better than top 5.
Yeah, you want to hear something crazy? So based on the numbers, ASC sits at 7 points across like 4 top 8s, 2 top 4s, and a top 2. So basically lost in the finals. Arachne Web of Deceit, exactly the same. In fact, Arachne Web of Deceit won one event, and like top 8'd one less event. So actually, Web of Deceit with like the Kiss of Death combo and all the dagger stuff that you can do, so stinking explosive that both of them are like making the format incredibly like disruptive and aggressive at the same time.
Sure.
I thought that was super interesting.
So I'm gonna one more interesting layer on that, because ASC and Blitz is if you read the text, ASC and Blitz is different than ASC and CC, right?
Yep.
So your last video, or I should say the last one, I don't know if it's the last one you've put up since this is going, but the last one I heard as of the time of shooting this video, you were talking about the awful statistical matchup from ASC into Deceit. Or, well, it's not at CC, but the names carry, you get it, right?
Yeah,
Marionette. Sure. That does not apply in Blitz, which is very interesting.
That's correct. Yeah, that is
very
exactly correct. But you have two assassins that are technically the same character, like the same hero in some respects, doing two different things and finding success in two different ways. It just so happens that they both have access to the incredibly pushed card pool that is Assassin. So I guess there's your reasoning, right?
Yeah, well, it turns out when your armor can all pop to be attack reactions, and you only have to care about doing that one time to strip your opponent in a short form format, seems statistically better.
Pretty good, right?
Yeah.
Seems pretty good. And yet none of those heroes touched the top two heroes, which didn't have, and you mentioned this before we started, no bans, no restrictions, no nothing for Kayo or Florian. Neither of those heroes touched at all.
Florian is good. Oh my God.
Yeah, Florian is good. Kayo, arguably better, had 9 top 8s across those 7 events. Florian had 5 top 8s across those 7 events. Both of them had the same exact number of wins. Both of those heroes to me seem like top of the heap, very powerful. And the fact that Kayo still has access to Bloodrush Bellow, how do you feel about that?
I might have a script written that hasn't been published yet about how Bloodrush Bellow meets all the criteria for the Great Book burning of September 2024, but was left untouched because brutes were bad at the time.
Well, not in Blitz, they're not. I think.
Well, that's fair. That's fair.
Blitz,
that's fair.
right?
That's fair. That's fair.
I think that's the interesting thing about Blitz to me as well. And this is another reason why I love this format. I like that there are heroes and classes that are not strong in Classic Constructed, but are very good in Blitz. I think that is unique, and I think it's something that should be fostered and protected in this type of format that you may not find in a Project Blue or in a Commoner. And Kayo and Rhinar are perfect examples of that. Kayo is probably the best deck in the format off of the back of a card that just gets you like 6 value in CC. You're like, Bloodrush Bellow, I would love to get +2/+2/+2. That'd be great. And here in this format, it's like, I could play Bloodrush Bellow and win the game. Like, that's a good thing. It allows players to play the class and the hero that they like in a format where it can actually do well. I don't know. I feel like I don't like that I die so often to Bloodrush Bellow, but I appreciate that it allows my opponent to like live that power fantasy of I'm a brute that just crushed you.
Yeah. And to be clear, my statement on Bloodrush Bellow was mostly focused on CC, which is why you have a fair point. And I'll also throw this out there. Again, I'm talking to someone who is on the same page as me in terms of liking Blitz. But like if your opponent, let's say they're playing OGK, we're not talking heavy hitters KO, we're talking OG KO Berserker right here, right? If they 10 foot tall bulletproof you on turn 0, are you mad? Or do you think that's freaking awesome?
No, I love that. Dude,
Right.
you're talking to the guy that put 10 foot tall and bulletproof in Blaze. Are you kidding me right now? I absolutely love that. I'm
Right.
cheering for that.
So
Actively, everyone should play 10 foot tall and bulletproof. New format incoming. Forget Project Blue. 10 foot tall format.
10 foot tall and blue balls. There we go. You heard it here
That's the
first.
format right there. Everyone's got to play it. Everyone's got 2 in their deck.
Oh, the things we could do, the places we could go, the things we could see, whatever the Dr. Seuss book is. But all right, so your wizards. Storm Chargers is gone. What do you do now, my friend?
Well, if you're playing Blaze, you just swap in Seeker's leggings and play basically the exact same list. I thought, see, this is the crazy part. I thought that you would need to include more opt. I thought you would need to include things like Reverberate Red. I thought you would need to splash in like double chain lightning so that you can kind of have these like double spell turns. And then the more I played, the more I was like, nah, Emeritus Scolding is just good. I'm just going to go Burr, and putting another piece of opt on the board seems really strong. So I think I'll win. Nah, I'd win is what I said. And it, spoiler alert, I took all of those cards I just mentioned out. I threw Seeker's Leggings in, and I changed the sideboard, and the deck just goes back to humming. So that, to me, is quite good. I'm okay with that.
Yeah, Blaze is Arcane Rising the hero to me. That's how I view her, and I love everything about it. I actually have a, maybe you and I can like corner in a non-aggressive fashion, corner James White one day and be like, so James, was this the original version of Kano? Was it?
I think it's a better, like, and this is saying something, because I think the first hero I really fell in love with in the game was Kano, and it was because I was so freaking bad at him when I first sat down to play like 3 games. I literally sat down, I built it before a Blitz armory in like 2021. No, it's still probably 2020, at the end of 2020. I built it. I sat down, I opened the binder that I carried all my stuff around in. I built it in about 20 minutes. I played 3 games into a friend of mine, and I lost like 0 to 19. And I literally played multiple turns where I was like, I will do the thing, and then I'll throw 1 damage at you. And then I realize I have no cards in hand. I just did 1 damage on this turn, and I die next turn. It was so bad. But I fell in love with that hero. And I played it both in Blitz and CC, played it in Blitz all the way until he LL'd. I played him like the last weekend before he LL'd, right after Worlds in Barcelona. And then I played him in CC all the way up until maybe like a couple months after the book bannings, and his deck sort of degenerated into just like the ICBM, like I play 9 copies of, Overflow and things like that.
Right.
I stopped playing it after that because it kind of just got really sad and boring. But I fell in love with Blaze because she's the better wizard. She's the most wizardy wizard we've ever been given. And it feels like you're doing wizard things. And she's powerful. And I like that about it. I think you're right. If they didn't design Kano to be her, they perfected their wizard formula by making Blaze.
Yeah, fair enough. Maybe she wasn't the first, but she certainly embodies everything that there was to be about Arcane Rising, in my opinion. So, I mean, Opt came out of Arcane Rising, and she's abusing, using and abusing, I would say.
Love it.
All right, so Astilio's out there. He took hits from Striders. Well, I don't know that he was running Striders in his best forms, but in theory, he took a hit from Striders, but he certainly got punished on CLV. So where's our, amalgamation automaton sit at this point?
In Blitz is fairly non-existent. That's not to say he's not like capable. There are heroes in Blitz that are uncapable. I'll put it that way. They are incapable of really doing much. He can certainly do the pop-off turn. He can certainly, with a 40-card deck, draw into you're gone in a flash and draw into like 1 instant Sigil of Brilliance, right? And do the thing. Unfortunately, he's just so glassy that he just breaks to heroes like Kayo, which are at the top of the heap, and Dash Database, who can go like 20 damage wide. Heroes that can just do that or be disruptive and he can't stop, so like your assassins. See, that's really his problem. And you're right, he wasn't really playing Stormstriders. I mean, some people have been messing around with builds with Stormstriders. but I think his main build in Blitz was certainly popping off with the Gone in a Flash combo, and then trying to finish it with poking in for some Arcane.
Hmm.
It's just more that he's in a very hostile place in a life total setting where he can't just take a turn off and take all the damage and blow back and start grabbing tempo. It's just a little off of the mark for him.
Hmm.
Though I haven't tested it with the new zero cost shock, so I wonder if that changes things.
Yeah, I don't know that he has the time to set up. I mean, I've personally just had too many times playing against him where he just, draws 3 instants and he's like, discard to draw and hope I get a 2-block. Like, what else am I gonna do, right? And then you just, I think your point about bringing up Dash Database, I think, is actually really apt in this example because, for most other heroes, they can be like, all right, it's not what I wanted to do, but I can pivot to not take a boom grenade to the face. And Azalea is just like, oh, I'll just sit here with my 4 cards, and you can max Velo me, and there's a boom grenade too. That was fun. Should we go get a beer?
The same thing with Data Doll. Data Doll's the exact same way. Like, I don't know if you have a lot of Data Dolls in your area.
We do.
We do. Yeah, there's a fair amount in mine, and they can just snowball out of control. Like, Data Doll had its peak 2 seasons ago, and then kind of came down after
Zen, and then it's when they lost Pistol. It's when they lost Pistol.
Yeah. True. No, Talishar was actually doing great for them. Yeah, using just Talishar, that was a fine swing. In fact, I played probably more games Blaze versus Data Doll than I did any other matchup in that kind of span. And if they used Talishar correctly, there was just nothing that I could do to win that matchup if I didn't go first, which was kind of crazy. Or they had to just miss. It was one of the two. But that's another deck that just kind of blows up some of these heroes that want a chance to set up. Heroes like Azalea that are kind of, I need you to stop for just a moment and go. But there's too many heroes in this format that just kind of pop off like that for him to really have space. And I'll tell you another one. How do you feel about Lexi right now?
So I think the vast majority of people are playing Lexi wrong right now. There's some very legitimate Shiver builds out there, in my opinion, that have not yet to be realized. Because Shiver's got the on-demand dominate. And there's a lot of card, what is it? It's the cannonball with a face on it that's headed towards shore out of high seas.
Dry powder shot.
Yeah, it's a free headshot. That card's crazy if you can get an on-demand dominate. Pump it with just a little frostbite on-hit action. Mm-hmm. That seems pretty good to me, but...
Yeah. I think Lexi, and even you said you think people may be building it wrong, but I would even argue that the no-fuse Lexi that you're probably referring to is still just so much damage. And they can pivot very quickly. Again, remember, in this format, you have access to Voltaire. So if you're at home going, why would Lexi be that? She has access to Voltaire, people. That card is so cracked, it's cracked in half. It's twice cracked. It's strike thrice. I mean, it's nuts. It's insane. And the fact that she can do that with dry powder shot and a bunch of these other arrows that she got that are just good arrows that on the face of it look okay, but have more go again access so that she can pump them with the thing. It's crazy.
Yeah. So Swift Shot, you can give Swift Shot +1. Yeah. Oh, that's cool. It's just a 6 goes. Yeah. I mean, yes, it costs you 2, I suppose, but oh no. I mean, whatever. I get it. There's downsides, but she's good. I agree. 100%.
Well, I have a question for you, because you are a big Dorinthea Quicksilver Prodigy fan.
Uh-huh.
Where do you think that hero is right now?
I think she's in the top 5 now.
Do you really?
I do. Because I think Blaze took a little step down, and that was her worst. Well, her worst, I don't know. I mean, Warriors traditionally do very poorly against Runeblades. She does do very poorly against Florian right now, because Florian has 19,000 D-reacts in his 40-card deck, right?
Yep.
But she's very, very, very good right now. She can outlast KO 60-40, maybe? I'm not saying she has a win rate 60-40 into KO, but if you go second into KO, I think you can generally pull it out pretty well.
Okay.
And if you get a counter on versus KO, you win.
Sure.
Right?
So, okay, to me, I would expect her to be pretty solid,
Hmm.
but she didn't really make any top eights at all. In fact, Dorinthea, OG Dorinthea, made multiple top eights and made it all the way to a finals, but not Quicksilver Prodigy. I was shocked by that when I was looking at the data from these WCQs. I expected Quicksilver Prodigy to just at least make the list, but not a top eight, a nary a top eight between them.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, again, Blitz is a smaller thing, but that is a little surprising to me. I do believe she's better than normal Dorinthea, or OG Dorinthea, but
Maybe OG Dorinthea just gets the nod because she can go so freaking tall on any given turn that the opponent, it almost kind of circles all the way back to like when we first started playing in WTR, the first set, right? Where Dorinthea's like shtick was decide when to full block your hand at the right point, and you probably win, but fail to do so, and I will definitely win this game. Maybe that like is the premise that these Blitz Dorintheas are kind of shifting to, because there were two that made top eight, two that made top four, and then one of them that made it all the way to a finals in one of these events. So, and again, take all of this, with a grain of salt, because of course these are a variety of sized events. Like the Philippines one was like 80 something people at this one, but there was all the way down. Yeah, I know, it's correct. Cool. All the way down to like maybe like 20 at one of them. Like I think it was Finland or something like that. So it was a variety, it was a range, but take the data as you see fit. Nevertheless, Dorinthea OG made it alongside of Dromai. Both of those heroes.
Oh, Dromai is pretty good too. Oh, yeah.
I agree. I expected her to be higher on this list, but Dorinthea and Dromai sit next to each other at two top eights, two top fours, and one top two. I expected Dromai to be quite a bit better than she showed out in this, but I don't know. Maybe the Kayo matchup is as tough as it was when Kayo first came out and Dromai was exiting the ZZ format, because that was a hard matchup.
Oh, that's it. I didn't think about that. I was more thinking about Dromai in terms of like right now, like in my meta, Prism is very prevalent. I have a lot of Prisms. Yep. Dromai is around, so I'm packing 3 in my Quick EP list. I'm packing 3 poppers, right? Sure. And then I can eat. I mean, I just like chop dragons for lunch, right? I mean, sure. Same with Poor Gravy Bones, which is why he's not even come up much since our original chat here in Blitz. He doesn't exist in Blitz right now.
He's the setup deck we were talking about earlier.
Yeah.
He doesn't have enough time.
Yeah, that is interesting.
Funnily enough.
Go ahead.
Funnily enough, Scurv better in Blitz than Gravy Bones.
Yeah, but he's just playing blue boats with Pummel, right?
Yeah, no, he's playing blue. Dude, the best card he has is Money or Your Life. Dude, that card is stupid. Money or Your Life, for those that don't know, the red attacks for 6, and when it hits you, it makes you take 4 damage. That's it's a 3 for 10. It's a 3 for 10. It's a 3. If you pummel that, they don't block, that's 14 damage, discard a card. It's basically pummel win the game, which is kind of sad, because like I want pirates to not be pummel decks, but at the same time, if you want to play a pirate, you can in this format. It's just you got to basically play.
Yeah, I mean, anybody who's looked at the set and can actually find it on the shelves, which is no one, but anybody who's looked at the at the set is like, oh, Battalion Bark and Pummel, that seems pretty good. Right?
Yeah, that's a pretty good combo, right? He's pretty solid in the format. I'm not going to lie. I played a fair shake into him in this format with a couple of decks, and I was like, I was not expecting this. And he can do some stuff. That's kind of fun.
Pirate's the new meta. There you go.
Dude, I wish. Maybe one day. But in Blitz, I don't think any of these pirates are fast enough outside of maybe him, and he's just playing Pummel dot deck. So,
I mean, I've lost some decks in like edge cases. It's kind of like the 10-foot tall bulletproof thing, but I've lost some edge case decks to like Marlin. Like if she just hits the thing and you're like, well, I have the wrong cards in my hand. But that seems very edge case to me. But
yeah, it would have to be. I mean, she could just do the overpowered loop that she kind of does in draft and sealed. Right. But yeah, you would kind of have to get lucky, I think, if you're playing as Marlin. Plus, no one knows how to build that hero. What do they even do?
Well, we'll find out when she wins Pro Tour this weekend. That's not going to happen.
Yeah, exactly. We'll just copy that deck like the voracious net deckers we are.
All right, so I personally think we've been doing quite a bit of testing in my team, I use that with air quotes, my friends. Not we. After our testing, they think Kayo is the best. I actually think Florian is the best. So what's your take on Florian? You haven't seemed super hot on Florian. You haven't really mentioned Flow here much. What's your take on that? I mean, Germinate, still a thing. Making rune chants and then coming in for 40 rune chants and an attack seems pretty good to me. What's your take?
I think I've poisoned the well a little bit in my own mind because I play predominantly Blaze in this format, and to me, that's not the matchup that scares me the most, right?
Scour.
I would much rather play against Florian, I should say, because they can bring in their AB, and then what do they do with all their D-reacts? I just get to chuckle while I watch them pitch them all.
That's fair.
Fantastic. It's wonderful. So I've been poisoned with the mentality of like, I just play Wizard. It's no big deal. If I'm looking at the top, I don't know, 1, 2, 3, 4, 7 decks from this list that I made from these events, Kayo, Florian, Dash Database, Arachne, Web of Deceit, Verdance, Arachne, Solitary Confinement, Vinset, even all the way down to Dorinthea. Like those heroes seem like pretty okay Florian picks because you can side in all your D-reacts and just play like really disgusting overall, like I'm going to win the end game. But if you had to make me pick, I would hate to see KO in any way, shape, or form on the other side of the table if it's a competent KO player.
Sure.
I think it's not just because I'm sitting as the squishy wizard, because I know what I would do sideboarding and how I want to play that matchup, and I know it can be won. But the game just ends when they find Blood Rush Bellow and any sequence of decent cards. Like the game is just so hard to play from that point that if you're considering Blitz to just be a high roll format, you play KO. I don't think it's just a high roll format. I think there's a lot of skill expression that can go into playing a 20 life format because it's basically playing the back half of a CC game. And I think if you think of it that way, things change a lot. But if you're just going to think of it in the format of like, okay, I just need to push the most damage starting now and keep doing that, KO is the answer. So to me, KO is the top of the heap. I do think that's the best deck in the format right now.
Yeah, that's fair. I do have to say, while you were reading off the top 7 or whatever it was, I was thinking Florian sounds pretty good to all of those heroes that you read off. But I acknowledge your point on KO just going burr, as the kids say. I think, I don't know, you're the teacher, you can tell me what the kids say these days, but sounds about right.
At this point, I've stopped trying to keep up with it. There's so many other things that
no cap, bro.
KO,
no cap.
No, not at all. On God. KO versus Florian. I could see myself sitting in the KO side and feeling okay about that.
Okay.
But I could also see the Florian kind of rolling that matchup just via, arsenaling D-reacts at the correct time and playing some amount of disruptive effects, playing your fellings and your plows at the right time. So if the game goes long, Florian probably wins that, but I think KO in an explosive format can do that. KO versus Dash, that feels great for KO. KO
sure.
Just destroys them, right?
Oh, you got an item in hand? Sorry. I mean, right?
Yeah, you're just dead.
Yeah.
Right? KO versus either of the Arachnes. They don't block super well. They can provide their own disruption.
Everything blocks for 3. I don't think the assassins run... Well, toxicity, it's block 2, but other than that,
the Web of Deceit like deck lists, some of them are running like the up 6 and run dagger bills. So there are 2 blocks.
Okay, fair enough.
So that deck has some number of 2 blocks. Solitary Confinement can like block 6 and then throw, 9 if you've arsenaled like the Razor's Edge, like they can block 6, throw 9, but I don't know if you can do that enough times to make KO sweat, especially when KO has the full suite of blocking equipment.
Oh, and Scowling Fleshbag, 100% the best card in the format, right? I mean, Scowling Fleshbag?
Yeah, you're probably right.
Maybe.
No, I think...
100% is a big statement, but like, it's pretty damn good.
Scolded, probably better. No, you're right. Scowling Fleshbag, that's the one. Okay, Scowling Fleshbag. KO to Verdance is a tough matchup, actually. I played that a good bit before she got the ban applied to her.
So what makes that?
Riders.
That's interesting. What makes that? And I'm not challenging. I'm just interested to learn what makes that different than the Florian match fundamentally.
So when she was playing the Anothos build, which is basically 1 for 4 plus the swing of the Waning Moon, which represents 6 off of a blue, so that's why it's called the Anothos build. When she was playing,
I was gonna say I don't like what did I miss something? Okay, got it. I get it.
Yeah. So I guess us purple Discord members, where we're all in them Verdance chat, we came up with the Nothos build. So me and another guy, we started calling it that, and now we've just called it that ever since. It is representative of the same thing that an Othos does. You pitch a blue, it swings for you pitch it swings for 6. Like it's a blue for 6, right?
Got it. Got it.
Verdance did the same thing. She pitched a blue, she dealt 4 damage, and then she did Waning Moon off the back. So that's why it's called the Anothos build. It's the Arcane version. It doesn't play a lot of attack actions.
So you're just saying a 2-card 6 is what you're saying.
Correct. Yes,
okay.
A 2-card 6 version of Arcane Verdance could play that matchup really slowly, block a bunch, keep that, and just do the thing that Guardians do where they play their hammer over and over again. It's really annoying, right? Everybody knows it. Oh, yeah, I get incremental value over time. I have a weapon. Right, that's Guardians.
I have the biggest brain ever! Sorry.
Oh, look at me. I blocked with 3 cards, kept a blue. Guess you don't know what I'm going to do. Answer, the same thing I did last turn. Right, that's Guardians. And Verdance could do that. She could do that exact same thing into that matchup. The problem was the moment KO, and this was especially good KOs, the moment they did 2 back-to-back big turns, you would either have to have also drawn a D-react or some extra prevention, or you would have to take a bunch of damage.
Mm-hmm.
And if you fall to a low enough life total, you get sort of trapped into this, I have to block enough that I can't afford the 1 for 4 and the Anothos. So I have to throw a 0 and then pitch for Anothos, or something like that. And so you could actually fall into these states where you were just kind of priced out of ever stopping the blocking train.
I see.
Actually swinging. So there was just moments in that where if they played it correctly, you would just lose tempo completely and you just get into a blockout simulator and die. So KO does have ways into that, and now it's even worse because you can't even combo on their turn. Mm-hmm. So Verdance, I think, loses points in that matchup. Mm-hmm. It's the exact same argument from the Blaze standpoint, except that you can still combo on their turn because Blaze has it built into her text. Which is why she loses points into him for not having Stormstriders, but she doesn't lose as much as Verdance did.
Mm-hmm.
So,
no, I think we're agreed on that point. You obviously have much further, the layers you were peeling during that. I actually really appreciated, because I'm just Blaze didn't. She's not as bad, but yeah, no, I appreciated that.
I do think Verdance is probably the better hero right now, the 2 wizards, but I don't think it's because she's a wizard. I think it's just because they made her into Icelander too. Yeah. Where she just plays the big stompy attacks and then throws a spell here and there and finishes with a combo. So I think that version is just probably, I don't know, where would you put her? S tier? High A? I think she's high A.
I think she's still A. I would have had her S tier prior to Stormstriders. I don't think she's S tier. I'll be honest, I don't know that anybody is S tier. I don't know that anybody is an outstanding dominant hero. I know that we have an inherent need to say somebody's the best, but I don't know that right now anybody is straight up the best. I don't disagree with you that KO is really strong, but I don't know that he's so much better than the other top 5 to blah 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 whatever. I don't know. That's my take, but
well, so I kind of agree with you, and at the same, because he doesn't feel like this overwhelming. He doesn't feel like the genesis of the meta, where you have to point to him and say, "How do you beat that?" Right? That doesn't feel like the character. He's just I have the best numbers. I win game.
Right.
Right. The
heavy hitters meta. You just summed it up. There you go. Right.
Yeah, but at the same time, the data based on how these top 8s actually broke out, he almost hit double digits in top 8s. He had 9 top 8s. That's pretty good.
So I'm going totally off of we didn't have a script, but we had an outline. I'm going totally off into left field. So just bear with me, my friend. Aurora, right? Aurora was and I'm talking CC with her Ascension. Aurora was a huge anomaly, right? Because if you look at Aurora compared to previous LL heroes, she won basically, I think it was 3. She won 3 large tournaments that earned her 25 points or more. The rest of her points were earned at the grassroots level, right? RTNs, PQs, whatever. That is a fact. Sure. So I wouldn't be surprised if we see a similar, I'm not saying with Aurora, but I'm saying with a similar effect. What you're looking at right now with your 7 events, was it? Your 7 events are paired in general with larger events for the most part, right? Which is it.
I think that happened beforehand.
I honest to God don't know. I don't know.
Well, I think that's an important distinction to make.
No, it is, because
currently with the major event, then yeah, I think your point is very valid. But if it happens beforehand, then everyone can play and still make the premier event. I think they took place on like the Friday before the Nationals.
Well, but my argument was still that you have a natural filter of like the folks that are willing to fly around the globe versus, to my point of Aurora, of like Aurora happened because like dudes who could drive to the event drove to the event. And by dudes, I don't mean like people who identify as male. Sorry, don't hate. I meant people, right? Individuals could have driven to the event as opposed to like having a $2,000 catalyst to get there. So that I mean that is, in my opinion, what happened with Aurora. It was a grassroots effort, and I don't know this, and especially at Skirmish, because we've historically seen Skirmish metas deviate from what we see at, granted there's not as many top tier Blitz events anymore, but we have definitely seen the Blitz grassroots movement deviate from quote unquote the top tier, right?
Yeah, I would agree with that.
Yeah, so I think it's very interesting to see what happens when we open this up to like what happens at the LGS across the world versus like what did Brody and friends do, right? So,
yeah, I could certainly see that argument. I think the other hang up though is that because these are all like these deck lists, these results are all available on Fab TCG. I could also see people go, "Oh, I have a Blitz Skirmish coming up. What should I play? Oh, here's a KO list.
It's a fair point.
Here's another KO. Oh, here's another KO list. Which one should I play? Oh, they're all 2 cards off. I'll just play this."
Yeah, that's a fair point. It's like, oh, I'm going to play Cast Bones versus one. I'm going to play 1 Cast Bones and take out 1 Reckless Swing. Look at me, I'm so edgy. Yeah, no, that's fair. Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how it all plays out because, to your credit, I definitely think that the meta will reflect more locally than what these results show. But how far off will it, and how much of these results will inform anyone that's just going back into the format to play in their skirmish so that they could have some fun with their friends? It'll be interesting to see. There are definitely some heroes that we talked about. Like I'm looking at Dromai on this list. I'm looking at Lexi on this list. I'm looking at who else? I'm looking at Quickie P, as you call her, and Arachne Solitary Confinement. Those are heroes that I expected to do far better than they did. And to me, I would have them higher up on my overall tier list. Same thing with Blaze. Blaze literally had 1 top 8. I think that's criminal, and I think that's absolutely wrong. And I think people are building and playing the deck incorrectly. And if you want to learn how to build and play the deck, go to the Purple Discord, because that's how we talk about it, and that's where we, I think we've all come to the consensus on how that deck should be played. To me, those are shocking results, and that are probably not indicative of the actual state of the format that we're living in. So I don't know. I think I'm kind of with you, though, that there's some of this data might sort of be obfuscating. Is that the right word? Covering up. I do think that this may cover up what actually could be like the true results of a very well fleshed out meta. Because you've talked about this with me a couple of times, that we just don't have enough events firing to actually show where things are landing.
Yep. Yeah, and my whole diatribe about, Aurora being anomaly and all that was only to really reinforce that point of what is winning isn't necessarily what represents what the populace is running. Again, that's why I appreciate you bringing up the top 8s as opposed to be like, well, Kayo got 15 points, he's the best, right?
Yeah. No, I think you're exactly right. And I know for a fact that like there will be more Prism Advent of Thrones at my local skirmishes than represented on this spreadsheet, because that deck is annoying. And for some reason, if I go to a Blitz event, I'm going to queue into 1 or 2 across 3 rounds. I'm that unlucky that I get one of the worst matchups for Blaze consistently. So, yay me.
Can I give you a hint? Down and Dirty. That card is so good against... I mean, granted, she's running Triumph. I get it. It's a 6 block. Yeah, but the fact that you can put that into your arsenal and pop from your arsenal is so good if you have to go second. Like, I can't tell you how many damn times I've drawn my popper, turn 0, and they just, like, do something Arsenal pass, and you get to use it. Now you IP yourself from an effective point of view. Down and Dirty.
That's a good point. I think the issue, though, is that the Arsenal, maybe it's better now. Maybe it's better now because you used to, no shade towards Down and Dirty. It's more of how Blaze played. Blaze
fair.
Wanted to sit on, she very much wanted to sit on Emeritus Scolding, or she wanted to sit on Absorb or Cindering or Kindle in Arsenal.
Got it.
Specifically Absorb and Cindering in Arsenal, right? And so in order to have that value, that extra value from Down and Dirty, you would have to forego arsenaling one of those cards.
Sure.
And the times that I've won the Prism Advent of Thrones matchup, it's been because I found a critical mass of Absorb and Aethers early on in the turn cycles, where I can actually pressure their life total to a meaningful degree. They will hit at some point, like to come across, and then I can, in response, kill their angel in some way, shape, or form. And so that's kind of how I found the way through that matchup to some degree. But it's still just so bad. It's always been like Illusionist versus Wizard has just been bad for Wizard. Mm-hmm. And so it's tough. It's tough to really find that line through it. Maybe Down and Dirty does make the cut now, though, when you're really only trying to arsenal those 2 cards.
Right.
Because you don't care about arsenaling Kindle as much, and you certainly don't want to arsenal, like, Emeritus ever again, right, because you don't have Storm Striders to pop off. So it could make the cut. I already have 4 poppers in the list. That might be an interesting inclusion.
Yeah, I mean, because Emeritus, like, you used to just be like, oh, I drew Emeritus, I'm just going to park it here and, like, let's play ball, right? But you don't do that anymore. Yeah, that's interesting. I don't know. What I know is I'm currently playing it in my Aurora list for the same argument. It's like, I don't ever want to not have a 4-card hand, or I should say an effective 4-card hand with Aurora. Right? So, like, if I draw my popper, I don't have to sit on it. So I draw my popper, I tuck it, and then I can still do that. Worst comes to worse, I defend 2 with it. Right? So...
Sure, that's true. That's true. You don't even need to use it as popper. It's literally just an extra 2 block.
Right.
Which you could argue might actually be worth it in something like Kayo that has his fair share of dominate,
Hey, man. Don't give away my secrets. I mean, I'm giving away my secret. I actually, in KO, I swap it out against electromagnetic. What's the electrostatic, whatever. The discharge. I swap it out for discharge. So I can have 2 extra 2 block. Because I do not want a handful of instants against KO when he's pulping and wild riding and bare fang.
Not at all. Not at all.
All right. We're like at an hour and change. But before we get out of here, Guardian Mastery on the horizon. Are we headed into fatigue, or does this new, as I'm talking specifically Blitz here, because the new Bravo, I assume, is going to be Blitz legal. I'm talking Flarvo, as they're calling him, which, boo.
Who's calling him that?
But flattering Bravo, is he going to be, assuming he's Blitz legal, like, are we just in fatigue, or, like, do we actually go into, like, an aggro Guardian?
I don't care about Guardians. They just die to wizards usually. Like, what? You know what? Actually, let me ask you this. Remind me of his text, because I thought it was more akin to Starvo's text. Is it not?
So, well, yes and no. So his, I don't have it in front of me, but I'm paraphrasing, but it is tap, pay 2, turn a crush card face up from your arsenal, gets effective Bravo. It gets it gets Starvo, it gets +2 and dominate. So tap him, pay 2, flip a crush, and it gets +2 dom. That's pretty good.
This seems aggressive to me. This seems like straight up aggressive to me. Like, I don't think this is fatiguey. I think that we just like windmill slam good crush cards into our arsenal, and then we flip them.
To be clear, I wasn't saying that Bravo would be aggro, but I'm saying we're about to go into a set where our Guardians get more stuff. I agree with you. Sure. That Bravo I don't think is fatigue. I think you want to, like, push pull with him. I think you want to be like,
Yeah.
Not Ancestral Empowerment. It's the what's the 3-drop that lets you -1 your next? It was in the TCG or that was in the Professor box. Whatever. Ancestral Empowerment. It's not Ancestral Empowerment. Whatever. I'll put it on the screen, and then Steve and I will both pretend like we know that it's on the screen. That one.
Yes, that one.
Yeah,
that's the one. I knew it.
We got it.
What I was thinking too.
Yeah, so that one to Arsenal.
One.
Yeah, I mean we're 100% on board. So to flip that one, and
to answer your question, I don't think so. I don't think Guardian Mastery Pack pushes fatigue. I would guess that Guardian Mastery Pack is trying to give more aggressive, like stompy, big attacks, like flashy moves, things like that to Guardian. At least that's kind of what I hope that it will do. Now, here's the problem. I think Guardian is so well suited to just steering toward fatigue that if we do just get good defensive cards, which is sort of a moniker of the class itself, right? Just being able to defend really well, have good armor, that people are going to find that those cards are just so effective that they might pivot towards it. But I'm hopeful with this Mastery Pack set that we get aggressive cards that are, pushing the archetype of big attacks and like disruptive on hits. That was the original calling card of Guardian. Because like we both were there when Guardian was like, okay, I'm going to make a seismic and then I'm going to play Crippling Crush, Dominated, and somehow squeeze a pummel in there, and like your turn is mangled, right?
Pun intended.
Yeah, we went there.
Look at you. Yeah, fair enough. I'm very interested to see how this plays out. I expect spoiler season within the next couple of weeks, so that'll be interesting. What do
you think? Do you think it's going to be fatiguey?
I think that anytime you give someone who wants to lean into control more value, they tend to go there.
Yeah. That's the danger, right?
Doesn't mean it's going to be there, but I think that, if people can eke the value out and swing weapon all day, I do think that the inherent mechanics of Flesh and Blood do lend themselves to fatigue because of the weapon existence. And I think that that's very clear that they agree with me in how that they're approaching the limited format for Super Slay.
That's a good point. I didn't even think about that. That's a really good point, because these are two pretty heavy weapon classes that we're going into, and fatigue state is something that I don't think that they ever really want to have as prevalent as it has been in like some previous limited formats. And if that's their mentality, then assuming that Guardian Mastery Pack was designed with the same thing in mind, we may get, just big stompy stuff like I'm hoping for. But I think you're 100% on the point. If players are presented with more value to be had at defending, they're just going to lean that way. They're just going to play defensive, gain value over time, and kind of do the more fatiguey thing, which is Guardians, I would say, bread and butter to some degree. Right?
Yep. Swing hammer.
Yep.
All right, my friend. Well, I want to thank you. First off, thank you. But this has been really awesome to finally be able to do this. You and I have been talking about doing this for years, and because both of us have complicated lives and are in different time zone, it hasn't happened. So thank you for making this happen, and I'm really excited for having made this happen. I'm really excited for Skirmish to come up, and maybe we'll have to do a recap and come on here and eat our shirts for how wrong we were about everything we just said today. But
I actually think that's a great idea. I think if people enjoy this, let us know in the comments if you want us to do this as a recap as well, talking about the Blitz format, because you said it at the top. We both love the Blitz format. I'm a huge fan of the Blitz format, and I don't know really anyone else that goes as hard in the paint as you as far as covering the Blitz and the commoner formats. So if this is something that people enjoy, hearing us kind of be more passionate about this format, let us know if this is something we should do again, because I had a blast. I could talk about this format for another hour after this, because I think it's just that much fun, and it's a pleasure to come and hang out with you, my friend, and talk about this, because it's the game that we fell in love with 5 years ago, right?
That's right. And I went to dinner with my wife earlier, and I was telling her I had an interview with you, and she said, "Oh, are we going to see him at Worlds? So will we be seeing Mr. DMArmada at Worlds this year in Philly? Will we meet at the Bell?"
I believe we will. And in fact, what I'm currently thinking I'm going to do is I'm going to take the week off work leading up to it. And I'm going to take my kids out of school.
Oh, there you
And
go.
I think we're going to do a road trip up there and make stops along the way and hit points in American Revolutionary history and talk about that. I think that might be really fun. Something I would love to do, and I think it would be a really cool way to tie both things in. So that's my current working plan, and I'm most likely going to make it happen this coming year. So
Well,
we'll see you there.
Yeah. No, we are things as are booked, and we're good to go. But like I said, she asked specifically if she would get to see you. So I think she's aching for a Queenstown refresh, and I was like, well, I think the rats in the hotel will not be quite the same as they were in Queenstown, but
no, not quite as beautiful as Queenstown, but
yeah.
The company,
Right,
that'll be on par.
Yeah. All right, my friend. Well, if they don't know where to find already, let them know where to come find you, please.
For sure. You can check out any of the videos that I make at youtube.com/DMArmada. And for some reason, my YouTube handle was taken, or sorry, my Twitter handle was taken. So it's Armada_DM, which is hilarious to me because the DM Armada that I compete with is actually a DJ. And they don't actually go by they go by DJ Armada, which is a really good DJ name. I'm just saying that's a sick DJ name, so I can't even be that mad. But I don't own the DM Armada Twitter handle, so there it is, at X. There it is, right there.
Oh, well done!
That's
Look at you.
myself.
It's through another screen, and you still nailed it. That's a pro right there, my friends. That's a pro. All right, well, so we're already soft committed to a follow-up on how wrong we were following Skirmish Season 12, so that'll be like mid-September-ish.
Yep.
Sounds like a plan. And you know, my friend, how we end this, right? You got to say it with me. Go Commando.
Oh, wait, no, wait. Try again. Let's go again. Ready?
Go Commando.
Go Commando. Go Commando. Go Commando. Just tag one of any of those in there.
And we're clear.
Go Commando. Oh.